Good afternoon. My name is Amanda Simpson, and today I'm going to share with you my book talk number 4 with my storyboard for Runaway Ralph. With the awkwardness of my office and the height of the board, I just took pictures of my board and put it in a PowerPoint. I thought it would be easier to talk to you about my storyboard that way. But you can see my board is in the background, have my title, author, and illustrator information. I have the publishing information on the right and a summary. At the bottom, meet the characters, and to the top left, the theme. And the bottom left is my setting, and I have just little graphics to go along with it. So I chose Runaway Ralph because it is just a fun book for your middle schoolers to read. I would definitely use this fourth, fifth grade. I would probably include it as some enrichment piece for third grade, especially for third grade gifted. I like Beverly Cleary. It's great vocabulary. The plot is always interesting and it's engaging. And I especially like her Ralph series because it engages my boys. Sometimes boys have a hard time with the Ramona series, but in my experience, everyone would engage with the stories about Ralph S. Mouse. So I'm going to flip to my PowerPoint. I hope it's not too distracting with my board in the background, but I'm going to flip to it and talk to you about it. Okay, so I'm going to start just in the center with my title. My title is Runaway Ralph. It was written by Beverly Cleary in 1970. Well, it was published by Beverly Cleary in 1970, and the illustrator is Lewis Darling. And I found it interesting when I was researching this, but this was one of the very last illustrations that he did before he passed away. So I enjoyed this series as a child, and I've enjoyed it as a teacher. So I don't know, it just stuck out to me. And he didn't have many illustrations through this book. This is a chapter book. There would be a few here and there, and they were always sketches, black and white. But the cover just created these images in my mind as I read as a child and even as a teacher, just of what this mouse looked like and what the things that he would do and the other characters that he would encounter. That visualization is so important as readers. And so even as I prepared this board, that's what I thought. As I looked for graphics, I thought about this very first illustration, because of course it's been published many times since 1970. I just always, my mind always went back to the original illustration and perhaps what it looked like in 1970 or in my 1980, 90 mind. All right, so at the bottom, I have meet the characters, and I'm going to move my face so you can see this. But there are lots of characters in this story, but the main characters are, of course, Ralph, who is our mouse, and there's Garth, the boy in the story, and then there's Tom, a hamster that Ralph befriends at summer camp. So those are our characters, and that's where our conflict and our events of our story are set around. They're set around Garth, Ralph, and Tom's relationships. So to the right, we have publishing information. I've already told you that it was published in 1970. HarperCollins was the publishing company, which HarperCollins is still a publishing company today. But especially in the 70s for children's literature, HarperCollins published a lot of children's literature. So, and that's located in New York. My summary is right here. It's really brief, and I think it would actually capture some juvenile readers' interest. I actually want to display this at my school in the library here in a few weeks to try to grab my fourth graders. And hopefully, I usually have a fourth grade group once a year, third or fourth grade. I'll grab a little group either for enrichment or intervention. And I'm hoping that this is something that I can read with them that they'll be interested and this will be one of their choices. So this is my summary. Ralph S. Mouse grows tired of his life and woes at Mountain View Inn. He leaves one day on a gifted motorcycle headed to Happy Acres Camp. There he meets a disgruntled hamster, Chum, and a boy, Garth, who needs Ralph as much as Ralph needs him. Ralph helps Garth out of a pickle, and Garth helps Ralph back home. So, speaking of that, Ralph getting back home at the end of the story, let's go to our theme. So, the theme of this whole story for every character, Chum, Ralph, and Garth, is that the grass is not always greener on the other side, and Ralph learns that the hard way. Our setting, of course, as I've mentioned, the beginning of the book begins at Mountain View Inn, and majority of the book is spent at Happy Acres Summer Camp. I hope that you will choose this, especially if you're a middle school teacher. I hope you will choose to read this book with your students. There was a ABC special made, I think it was back in the 80s, maybe early 90s, based on this book. I don't know if some of you are old enough to remember those ABC specials. I've never watched the movie, but then that would be another extension activity that you could do. Of course, we would read it and we would write about it, but then, especially if I were reading with this is second semester of fifth grade, we would watch the movie and then we would compare the differences between the book and the movie. So I've enjoyed having class with y'all this term. I've really learned a lot from you and your presentations and just from your perspectives, from your positions at your schools. And I just want to tell you thank you.